Hello and welcome to the Read to Know podcast, where the goal is to actually remember what you read so then you can better apply it to your life. On this podcast, we go through a book one chapter at a time, and then we actually practice remembering what we've read. So if you want to follow along, we're currently working our way through Bob Goff's book, Dream Big. I'm Zach Brown, and my friend Chris Yarber is joining me to help discuss and break down this book. Also, if you're on Apple Podcasts, it would be huge if you left a rating and review for us. It would help out a ton. If you're not on Apple Podcasts, no worries. Just send this to a friend who might be interested. Anyway, thanks again for listening and enjoy the conversation. Well, Chris, we did it, man. We made it 29 days in a row. 29 podcasts, 29 days. We're at the last one. We did it.
This was some adventure, man. When you came to me and said, "What if we did a podcast a day?" I thought, that's adventurous. I mean, that's adventurous. But when we looked at this book that we wanted to do, and I'm so glad that we did it. I'm so glad we didn't take 29 weeks to do it. But it's a great book, and being able to cover these 29 chapters in such a short period of time also just helps kind of retain, the information itself that you get from this book. And I think it lends to action quicker. I find that's true for myself when I'm reading books. The longer I take to read it, kind of the more and more I forget about the things I'd previously learned, but then also I may be a little bit slower to put into action some of the things that he or she writes in those books. And so I've been very impressed with this book, and so glad that we read it because it's motivated so many different areas of my life. So I'm glad we did it. Congratulations.
Right. Yeah, for sure. This book is definitely it's an easy to read, so that we were able to take it a day at a time and really tackle it every day. And like I said, I'm glad we did this and this daily kind of challenge.
Yes.
I'm ready to get back to a weekly schedule with these podcasts. So that will be next week, a week from today. Mm-hmm. And will be a new book. I'm actually not quite sure what book that will be yet, but I'll be announcing it here shortly. But we'll figure that out, and we'll get that going. But that is next Monday. But this last chapter is mostly it's a final kind of closing story. So he tells a story throughout this whole chapter, and this chapter is just kind of, the story is to encapsulate basically what all this book is about, and that's what he mentions towards the end of the chapter, or at the beginning of the epilogue, I think, right after this.
Yeah.
But we won't go into detail on this story because it's just worth reading itself.
Yeah.
If you don't have the book, pick it up, and I would highly suggest taking a look at this chapter, because we could not do it justice trying to kind of convey this story to you.
Yeah, and even if you just listen to this podcast for the content itself, and you may not be someone who enjoys reading, but you sure do like a couple guys talking about what we may be reading. I think if you were to get this book, if you were to just read one chapter, this would be a great chapter to read, because as you said, this kind of encapsulates the whole book. We're not going to go into the details of the story, but you meet several different people in this chapter, 3 different people in this chapter that really make a difference. And of course, their ambitions don't shape out the exact way that they thought they would for many of them. But even through some of the setbacks that they had in their story, they were still able to continue to pursue their ambitions. And so this really is, it's called Matters of the Heart. I really think that this is an ending chapter, is really the heart of the book itself, and really gets you motivated from the last chapter to continue to push forward, as we spoke about yesterday.
Right, yeah. And that's what, even, as we talk about ambitions and stuff, that's really what ambitions are. They're matters of the heart, in a sense. Just really trying to connect with yourself and figure out, down within myself, what are the things that are trying to bubble to the surface that I should just kind of help give way to. And that's what this whole book is about, just trying to figure out what that is for each person, because it looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
And that process looks different for everyone, but it's worth figuring out, and it's worth doing for sure.
Right. Yeah. This book, some books you read and they're very knowledgeable. They hit you here, but You've found a great book when it also hits you here at the same time. This, discovering your ambition and then chasing after it is an emotional process. It's an emotional process. And that's why I think, it would be great of us here in this last episode for this book to talk about some things that really, really stood out to us, whether that's one or two, we'll see how many we go into. But that's why I found so much value, especially in these chapters and these parts of this book where he talked about grabbing onto opportunities. You find an opportunity presents itself that kind of is in line with that ambition, and you grab onto that opportunity. And not only those chapters about opportunity, but also these chapters in this book where he talks about journeying alongside of other people and really connecting with other people and having genuine interest. I think that chapter on taking genuine interest in others to ignite your ambition was probably my favorite chapter of this entire book. I think it's such a revolutionary idea to care about other people so much and to show them this kind of love that he talks about in this book. And in return, you get a benefit from that. Not that you're taking genuine interest in other people for that benefit. You're taking genuine interest in them because you care for them. But then the return of that is so great. So I find that so revolutionary. Probably my favorite chapter of this whole book.
Yeah, those are great points, and those are great parts of this book for sure. A couple of the things that definitely stuck out to me are those that you mentioned, and then as well, the areas. I think there's so many things in this book that are kind of counterintuitive. That's the whole point. And even we talked about this in the last chapter that was talking about the pitch. About when your engine fails on a plane, that you need to point the nose down towards the ground, which is counterintuitive. And I think a lot of these things, maybe this whole book is a little counterintuitive because it's not things that we would initially think as being beneficial to our ambitions and to what we need to do. But yeah, that's definitely huge as well. Even like putting yourself around other people who are ambition oriented, who you can learn from, who you can help. And then it can also spur you along to keep you going down this road of ambition. And even just being around people who are ambition-oriented, they will help you be more inspired to do it in your own life as well.
Yeah, I think you can find a lot of benefit, and there is a lot of benefit from following and creating friendships with people that inspire you. I think that's what's so beautiful about this last chapter that Bob gives us here with Kelly and Clark. Clearly these people in this chapter are people that inspire Bob, himself. And Bob is one of those people that, has inspired me. And so he puts in the back of this book, you can see it, get the book. He puts his number in the back of the book. And so, if you want to reach out to him, if you're reading this book and he's inspired, reach out to him, just encourage him, tell him, hey, Red Dream Big, a super approachable guy. Don't be intimidated just because his name is on the front of the book. But follow people and be around people who inspire you, create friendships with them, connect with them in any small way, whether it is sending an email, sending a letter or whatever it may be. I think that's the beautiful part about this process of chasing our dreams is we're certainly not alone. Even if people alongside of us are not chasing those same ambitions, just being able to talk to someone about them and being able to partner with people can really take you a long way that you may not have been able to go, all by yourself.
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well there, Chris. Mm-hmm. That's Dream Big by Bob Goff. We did it.
Read the whole book. Congratulations, man.
I'm looking forward again to, like we said with the last one, I'm looking forward to going back and revisiting some of these chapters, some of these ideas and thoughts, and also, we're continuing to work on implementing them continually, because that's what a lot of these are. They're not one and done things, just like with the last book, 7 Habits. They're not one and done. You're always working on these. You're always continuing to make progress forward. And that's another one. This is another one of those kind of books, and I'm excited to continue down that path as we continue on to other books and continue on with life. Yeah,
this book, it will go back on the bookshelf, but it's not going to stay there. Hopefully it doesn't collect dust for anyone who has it. So again, that's Dream Big. Congratulations, man. 29 chapters, 29 days.
So before I end this podcast, just a couple things that I wanted to go over really quickly. First off, if you're still listening and you've made it to this point, again, thanks so much for listening. We hope that you've enjoyed this book, Dream Big. We've hoped that this has also been beneficial to you as it has been to us, and that hopefully, you have a few dreams and ambitions lined up and ready to come to fruition now in your own life, just like it has with us as we've read this book. I also want to talk about what is coming up in the podcast in the next couple weeks. So next Monday, September 1st, I'm hoping that there will be a bonus episode for the podcast tied into Dream Big. So I won't say what that is just yet, but hopefully next week, September 1st, there will be a bonus episode regarding Dream Big. And then the week after that, on September 8th, we will start a new book. As far as the new book, we do not know what that new book will be as of right now, but as soon as we know, we will start letting everyone know, posting about it, and talking about it on the podcast. So looking forward to that on September 8th. Again, thanks for listening. We hope that you've enjoyed this journey as we've gone through these last two books here. If you are interested in supporting us as well, helping to keep this show going as long as possible, as sustainable as possible, with high quality content, then feel free to check out our support page online at readtoknowpod.com/support, where you can check out our merch. We have coffee mugs to bath mats to face masks to you name it, just about anything and everything there, as well as a Patreon page where we will be adding tiers here soon to help give great rewards and incentives to those who support us via Patreon. So again, readtoknowpod.com/support, and you can check that out there. So anyway, thanks again, guys, for listening. We super appreciate it, and we'll see you next week on the Read to Know podcast.